You are standing in front of someone, and they have just asked you a simple question in English. Your heart begins to beat a little faster. You know the words, and you have studied the grammar for years. But suddenly, your mind feels like a blank screen. You want to speak, but the words are stuck somewhere deep inside your throat. It is a terrifying feeling of total freezing. Inside your head, there is a feeling of pure panic. You are desperately searching for the right vocabulary. You can almost see the pages of your old textbooks, but nothing comes out of your mouth in time. You feel like a runner who is trying to move through deep water. You know what you want to say, but the connection between your brain and your voice is completely broken. The truth is, you are not a slow learner. You are actually very smart. But you have a hidden enemy that is sabotaging your progress every single day. That enemy is translation. Right now, you are secretly trying to translate every single thought from your native language into English. This internal process is what creates that wall of silence and makes you feel like you are failing when you are not. Today, we are going to start a very special journey together. We are going to learn how to break this exhausting habit once and for all. I want to show you how to stop being a translator and start being a speaker. We are going to explore the simple steps to think directly in English, so the words can flow out of you as naturally as your own breath. Please listen closely to this promise. Thinking in English is not a special talent that only a few people have. It is not something you are born with. It is a simple mental skill. Just like riding a bicycle or playing a musical instrument, it is a habit that anyone can train. If you follow these steps, you will find that the English language can finally feel like your own. Before we go deeper into these secrets, I would love to hear from you. Where in the world are you listening from right now? Please tell me your city or country in the comments. And if you enjoy learning English through real, emotional stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more lessons to help you find your voice. Consider the life of a typical student. This person might spend hours every night memorizing long lists of vocabulary and studying complex grammar rules. They do everything the books tell them to do. Yet, they completely ignore how their mind actually processes those words in a real conversation. They are building a library in their head, but they are forgetting to build the roads that lead to the exit. Translation often feels like a warm, safe blanket. It feels comfortable to lean on your native language because it is what you know best. However, this safety is actually a dangerous illusion. While it helps you understand a sentence on paper, it acts like a heavy weight when you need to speak. It keeps you tied to your old way of thinking and prevents you from truly flying in English. Let us look at a very common scenario. Someone walks up to you and asks with a smile, "How was your weekend?" In that moment, your brain starts working overtime. Instead of just answering, you start a complex internal process. You hear the English sounds, but your mind immediately pulls them back into your native language to understand the meaning. This is where the trouble begins. Your brain begins to perform a difficult piece of mental math. First, you hear the English. Second, you translate it to your native tongue. Third, you think of a great answer in your native language. Fourth, you try to translate that answer back into English. By the time you reach the fifth step and try to speak, the other person is already wondering why you are staring at them in silence. This creates what we call the awkward delay. It is that long, uncomfortable pause that happens in the middle of a chat. Even if it only lasts a few seconds, it feels like an eternity to you. You can see the other person waiting, and that pressure makes you even more nervous. You start to lose your confidence, and you end up saying something much simpler than what you actually thought. I want you to know that this feeling is valid. This delay often makes you feel much less smart than you really are. It is frustrating to have a complex adult mind, but feel like you can only speak like a small child. But please remember, this is not a reflection of your intelligence. It is simply a technical problem in your processing system. It is not your fault, and it can be fixed. But here is what truly matters. You are currently carrying an invisible wall around with you everywhere you go. This wall is built of all the translations you do every minute. Until you learn to tear this wall down, you will always feel like a visitor in the English language. You will always feel like you are looking at the language through a window rather than living inside of it. Think about the heavy burden of trying to manage two different languages inside your head at the exact same time. It is like trying to run a race while carrying two heavy suitcases. One suitcase is your native language, and the other is English. No wonder you feel exhausted after just a few minutes of talking. Your brain is doing double the work it should be doing. Now, I have a very important question for you to consider. What would happen if you just dropped your native language completely for a moment? What if you decided to let go of that first suitcase? If you could stop the translation, you would find a level of speed and energy you never knew you had. Are you ready to discover how the mind really works when it speaks freely? Let us shift our focus and look deep inside your brain. We want to understand what happens biologically when you try to communicate. When we understand the science of the delay, the solution becomes much clearer. Your brain is an amazing machine, but it likes to take the easiest path possible. Right now, its easiest path is through your native language, and we need to change that. Think of the bilingual brain as a very busy highway. In a perfect world, information should move fast from one point to another. But translation creates a terrible traffic jam. Every thought has to go through a checkpoint where it is changed from one language to another. This checkpoint slows down every single car on the road. To find fluency, we need to build a new, direct highway. Compare two different ways of thinking. Method A is what you do now. You see a red fruit, your brain thinks of the word in your native language, and then you find the word apple. Method B is the goal. You see the red fruit, and your brain immediately thinks apple. There is no middle step. One is a long, winding road, and the other is a straight line. Your native language has become an unnecessary middleman. In business, a middleman takes your time and your money. In language, this middleman takes your fluency and your confidence. He stands between you and the person you are talking to, demanding that everything be filtered through him first. It is time to fire the middleman and start speaking directly to the world in English. This extra step is the exact reason why speaking English for even 10 minutes makes you feel physically and mentally tired. Your brain is burning so much energy just to move thoughts back and forth. It is like trying to translate a book while you are reading it aloud. It is an Olympic level of mental effort. Once you stop translating, that exhaustion will start to disappear and speaking will feel light. The secret we are looking for is called direct association. This means linking the English word directly to a feeling, an image, or a physical object. You want the word water to be linked to the feeling of thirst or the sight of a clear liquid, not to the word for water in your own language. When you create these direct links, your brain can access them in a fraction of a second. Think back to how you learned your very first language as a baby. You did not have a dictionary. You did not have someone translating words into a secret code. You simply looked at your mother, felt love, and heard the word. You saw a dog, felt excitement, and heard the word. You connected the sound to the reality. You felt, you saw, and you connected. That is the natural way. As adults, we make a big mistake. We try to use a bilingual dictionary to navigate our daily lives. But life moves much too fast for a dictionary. Conversations are like fast-flowing rivers. If you stop to look up a word or translate a phrase, the river has already moved past you. You cannot participate in the flow of life if you are always looking back at your own language for help. Imagine the feeling of being cold. When a freezing winter wind hits your face, you do not sit there and translate the word for cold from your native tongue. You just shiver. Your body knows exactly what is happening. The goal is to reach a point where you feel that cold and the English word cold pops into your head instantly. You shiver, you feel the chill, and you think cold. There comes a time when you must realize that your native language was a wonderful safety net while you were a beginner. It helped you get started. But now, you have outgrown it. Just like a child eventually stops using training wheels on a bicycle, you must stop using translation to move forward. You are ready for more speed, but you cannot have it as long as you are holding on. It is completely normal to feel a bit of fear right now. Stepping out without the safety net of your mother tongue feels like walking into a dark room. You worry that you will make terrible mistakes. You worry that you will forget everything and stand there in silence. This fear is what keeps most learners stuck at the intermediate level forever. But you are going to be different. Here is the great paradox of language learning. That safety net of translation is actually a cage. It feels like it is protecting you, but it is really just keeping you trapped in one place. You think you are staying safe, but you are actually preventing yourself from ever becoming truly fluent. To be free, you have to be willing to feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. And this changed everything for me. There was a specific moment when I decided to finally cut the safety net. I realized that if I never let myself struggle a little bit, I would never grow. The moment you decide to stop translating is the moment your real life in English actually begins. It is a brave choice, but it is the only choice that leads to the result you want. You must actively work to break the bridge that connects your two languages. They should not be mixed together in a messy pile. Instead, they must live in separate rooms in your mind. When you enter the English room, you should leave your native language at the door. By keeping them separate, you allow the English part of your brain to grow strong and independent without any outside help. Your brain is now ready for the actual training. You understand the science, and you have identified the enemy. Now, we move from the theory to the practice. The physical steps to change your mind begin tomorrow morning. I am going to show you exactly how to spend your day so that your brain starts to prefer English over your native language. The transformation is about to become very real. We are beginning the training phase now. The absolute secret to changing your brain is starting incredibly small. Many people fail because they try to do too much at once. They try to have a deep philosophical debate in English on the first day. That is like trying to lift 100 kilograms before you have learned how to walk. We are going to start with the smallest possible building blocks. Here is the golden rule for this stage. Do not try to think in complex paragraphs yet. If you try to force big, complicated thoughts, your brain will naturally run back to your native language for help. We want to avoid that at all costs. For now, keep it simple. We are building a foundation, and a foundation is made of single stones, not whole walls at once. Welcome to level 1 of the training. We call this the naming game. It is the most basic way to start rewiring your mind. Instead of thinking in sentences, we are going to focus on single, isolated words. You are going to become like an explorer in your own life, discovering the names of everything around you for the very first time, but only in English. Try this right now. Look around the room where you are sitting. Do not look for anything difficult. Just point with your eyes at the objects closest to you. Think the word desk. Look at your drink and think cup. Look at the wall and think window. See the light above you and think light. Do this quickly. Do not let your native language interfere with the labels. I know how this feels. It feels a little bit silly, like you were playing a game for a 5-year-old child. You might think that this is too easy to be helpful. But please understand, this is powerful mental weightlifting. Every time you label an object directly in English, you are strengthening that direct highway we talked about. You are teaching your brain that English is the primary way to see the world. You will notice a struggle immediately. Your native language is very aggressive. It has been in your head your whole life, and it does not want to give up its power. As soon as you look at a chair, your native word will try to jump in and take over. It will try to shout louder than the English word. This is the moment where the real training happens. You need a defense against this intrusion. Use the power of visualization. When you look at that chair, see the physical shape, the color, and the texture very clearly in your mind. Focus on the image so much that there is no room for your native word. Push the old word away with your mind and say the English word in your head with total focus and clarity. Once you feel comfortable with names, it is time for level 2 of the training. We are moving from objects to simple actions. This is about connecting English verbs directly to your physical body. When you move, your brain should describe that movement in English. This creates a deep connection between the language and your physical existence, making the words feel much more real and alive. Try to narrate your morning routine tomorrow. As you get out of bed, think to yourself, I am waking up. As you walk to the bathroom, think, I am walking. When you wash your face, think, I am turning on the shower. When you eat breakfast, think, I am drinking coffee. Do not worry about perfect grammar. Just focus on connecting the English sound to the physical act. There is a quiet, beautiful joy in this process. Imagine moving through your own house and living your life completely in English for a few minutes. For those moments, you do not need a dictionary. You do not need a teacher. You are simply existing within the language. This creates a sense of peace and ownership. You start to realize that you can survive and function in this new language. Success comes from building a consistent habit. The best times to practice are during the quiet, empty moments of your day. Think about when you are riding the bus, washing the dishes, or walking to the store. Usually, your mind is just wandering. Use those 5 or 10 minutes to practice your naming and action games. These small moments add up to massive changes over time. I want to introduce a new concept called the No Native Language Zone. This is a specific time or place where your native language is simply not allowed to exist. It might be your kitchen during breakfast, or it might be your car during your drive to work. In this zone, you make a strict contract with yourself. No matter what happens, your thoughts must stay in English. You must work hard to create an English bubble around your physical life. The more English you see and hear, the easier it becomes for your brain to think in it. If your environment is 100% in your native language, your brain has no reason to change. We want to trick your brain into thinking that English is now necessary for your daily survival. Here is a simple but very effective task. Take your phone right now and change the system language to English. Do the same for your social media accounts and your email. At first, it will be annoying. You might get lost in the menus. But this is good. You are forcing your brain to adapt to English in a practical, real-world way every time you check a message. Slowly, day by day, you will feel a shift. The tension starts to leave your shoulders. Your brain stops fighting you so much. The English bubble you have created begins to feel comfortable and familiar. It stops being a chore and starts being a natural part of who you are. You are now ready to move beyond simple words and start developing your true inner voice. We are now advancing to the next stage of our development. It is time to awaken your inner English voice. This is the voice that speaks inside your head when you are thinking to yourself. Up until now, that voice has probably always spoken your native language. But today, we are going to give that voice a new identity. We are going to teach it how to speak English. Welcome to level 3 of the training. This level is about full thoughts and daily planning. We are moving away from just naming objects and actions. Now, we are going to start organizing our lives using English sentences. This is where you truly start to live in the language, using it to solve problems and make decisions throughout your busy day. One of the best exercises is narrating your future. Take a moment to plan your day using only your English voice. Instead of thinking about your tasks in your native tongue, try to arrange your schedule in English. Think about what you need to do, who you need to see, and where you need to go. This forces your brain to use English for logical, practical thinking. For example, think to yourself while you're in the kitchen, what should I eat for dinner tonight? Maybe I will cook some pasta. I need to check if I have enough tomatoes and onions. If not, I will go to the store at 5 o'clock. These are simple, everyday thoughts, but doing them in English is a massive step toward total fluency and natural thinking. There is a wonderful comfort in the mind. Your inner world is a safe, private practice space where nobody can hear you. In this space, you can make 1,000 mistakes and nobody will ever judge your grammar or your accent. You can take as much time as you need. This privacy allows you to build the confidence you need before you step out and speak to others. However, you will eventually hit an inevitable roadblock. You will be thinking along smoothly in English, and suddenly you will realize you don't know a specific word. It happens to everyone. Your mind will stop, and you will feel that old urge to translate. You might even feel a little bit of frustration or the desire to give up and go back to your native language. Here is a very strict rule that you must follow. Do not stop to translate. Do not grab your dictionary or pull out your phone to look up the word. If you do that, you break the English flow and go back to the old highway. We want to keep the English momentum moving forward, even if we have to be creative to find a way around the problem. We use a technique called walking around the word. If you don't know the exact name for something, don't worry. Instead, try to describe it using other simple English words that you already know. Use its shape, its purpose, or its color. This is exactly what native speakers do when they forget a word. It keeps the conversation alive and keeps your brain in English mode. Let's say you forget the word wardrobe. Do not panic and search for the translation. Instead, just think to yourself, I am going to the tall wooden box where I put my clothes. It sounds simple, but it is effective. You have successfully communicated the idea to yourself without leaving the English language. You have kept the flow going, and that is a huge victory for your brain. I want to emphasize this point. True fluency is not about knowing every single word in the dictionary. Even native speakers don't know every word. Real fluency is simply the ability to never get stuck. It is the ability to keep going, to find another way to say what you mean, and to stay inside the language no matter what. That is the goal of this training. Now we move to level 4 of the training, the imaginary conversation. This is where things get really interesting. You are going to start talking to people who aren't even there. You are going to practice the social side of the language within the safety of your own mind. This prepares you for the pressure and the speed of real-world interactions with other human beings. Start talking to invisible people. You can do this in the shower or while looking in the mirror. Explain your opinions on things. Tell a story about something that happened at work. Describe your favorite book. By speaking out loud to yourself, you are training your mouth and your brain to work together in perfect harmony. You are becoming comfortable with the sound of your own English voice. Try this specific example. Pretend you are having an argument with a friend about a movie you both just watched. Speak out loud in your room. Explain why you didn't like the ending. Say things like, "It was too slow," or "The acting was not very good." By practicing these emotional expressions, you are making the language a part of your personality, not just a school subject. All of this might feel a little bit crazy at first. You are standing in your room talking to nobody. But believe me, this is exactly what prepares your brain for the stress of the real world. When you finally do talk to a real person, your brain will feel like it has done this 1,000 times before. The words will come easily because you have already practiced them in private. We are now approaching the final and most difficult challenge for your inner voice. This is about sudden reactions. These are the words that come out of your mouth before you even have time to think. They are the most deeply rooted parts of our language. To truly think in English, we need to capture these moments and change them from our native tongue into English. This level is about training your instincts. Think about how you react when you are surprised, or when you are happy, or even when you are hurt. Usually, these reactions happen in your native language because they are so fast. But we can train our instincts just like we train our thoughts. We want English to be your first response to the world around you, even in a crisis. Imagine a simple situation. You are walking through your house and you accidentally bump your toe on a heavy table. It hurts. Usually, you might shout a word in your native language. But I want you to try something else. Instead, shout, "Ouch," or "Oh no," or even a simple English phrase. By doing this, you are proving that English has reached the deepest part of your brain. When your pain and your surprise are naturally expressed in English, you should celebrate this milestone. It means the transformation is almost complete. It means your brain no longer sees English as a foreign tool, but as a natural part of your survival system. You are no longer performing a language, you are simply living it. This is the moment when the heavy work finally pays off. And here is the beautiful truth about this whole process. The compounding effect of these daily habits creates a massive transformation over time. Each small word and each tiny thought builds upon the last one. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, your progress starts to move faster and faster. Before you know it, you'll have traveled a huge distance, and your mind feels completely different. Your mindset has shifted. You are no longer just a student who is trying to learn a difficult subject. You are now a user of the English language. You have taken control of your own mind and built a new way of seeing the world. The translation trap has been broken, and you are finally ready to experience the true freedom that comes with fluency. Your journey is reaching its peak. We have reached the climax of our journey together. This is the moment you have been working towards since the very beginning. You have fought through the frustration, you have practiced the naming games, and you have built your inner voice. Now, You are about to see the ultimate sign that the translation trap has been broken forever, and that you are a true English speaker. Imagine a magical morning in the near future. You wake up, you open your eyes, and you lie in bed for a moment. Suddenly, you realize something incredible. You were just dreaming, and in that dream, everyone was speaking English. You were speaking English too, and it was easy. You didn't have to think about it. It just happened naturally while you were fast asleep. Why does this dream matter so much? It matters because it is the proof that your subconscious mind has fully accepted the language. You have moved beyond conscious practice. The language has moved into the deepest parts of your soul. It is no longer something you do. It is part of who you are. English belongs to you now, just as much as your native language does. Then comes the real-world test. You walk into a room and meet a native speaker. They start talking to you, and they are speaking very fast. But for the first time in your life, you don't feel any panic. You understand them perfectly, and you answer them just as quickly. There was zero mental math. There was no translation. You just had a real, effortless conversation. Can you imagine the feeling of pure freedom in that moment? The invisible wall that used to hold you back is completely gone. You are no longer trapped inside your own head. You are just connecting with another person, human to human, heart to heart. This is the gift of fluency. It is not about being perfect. It is about being present and being yourself in any language. Let us take a moment to look back and remind ourselves of how far you have come. You started this journey by deciding to drop the heavy burden of translation. You realized that carrying two languages at once was only holding you back. By making that one brave decision, you opened the door to a whole new way of learning and a whole new way of speaking. You finally understood that the awkward delay was not your fault. It was just your native language stealing your time and your energy. You learned to see that middleman for what he was, a barrier to your success. By identifying the problem, you gained the power to fix it. You replaced the old, winding road of translation with a new, direct highway of thought. You trained your brain like a muscle every single day. You started with simple objects in your room, then moved to your morning actions, and finally to your deep inner thoughts. You practiced in the quiet moments of your life, and you stayed strong even when you didn't know a word. Each of those small steps was a brick in the foundation of your new, fluent life. And here is a secret victory for you to enjoy. By listening to this entire story today and following along with every word without using a dictionary, you have already been practicing. You have been thinking in English for this entire lesson. You are already doing it. Your brain is already adapting and growing. You are much closer to your goal than you were just a few minutes ago. I want to leave you with one final, warm thought. You do not need to translate the world anymore. You already have all the English you need right inside your mind. It is waiting for you to use it. Trust yourself. Keep listening and keep thinking. The world is waiting to hear your voice. Thank you for being part of this story, and I will see you in the next one.